Hello and welcome back. In this module, we are going to cover some advanced techniques using surface automation. We go to Blue Prism and we'll create a new object. We'll say Surface Automation Advanced. Click Finish, open it, configure the application modeler, click Next, 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 browse for our application. It is in C drive, Blue Prism, training, applications, surface automation training, and this exe. I'll select that, click next, and I keep everything as default. Finish. Now let's launch this. In this application, we are going to first log into this application. So we need to identify the text boxes for username and password. So let me move this around, and this is my main screen or maybe login screen. Click identify, and even though it's a thick client, but we'll assume it's a thin client, so we'll change the spying mode to region mode. Now we'll take this main screen, control left click, and here let me maximize this. We'll draw regions for our username, for our password, and for a login button. Let's call these appropriate names. This is username, this is a password, and this is the login button. Okay, we'll click OK on this, and let's highlight these things back. It's highlighting, username, highlight, and it's highlighting. One thing to note here is that the title of this login screen says Blue Prism Training dash some date, which is today's date. So today it's highlighting, but tomorrow when I'll come back and try to highlight it, this will break because it will display the today's whichever day I'm running, that day it will display. Whereas here, if you see login screen, if I sort it on the match column, the window text, if you let me maximize this, so we see here window text, it says it should be equal to this particular title, which will change. It is not going to be this title. So what I'll do is I'll make this window text to be a wildcard, and then remove this date from here and put a star. That way it will match all the window text with this title, with which start with Blue Prism Training dash. Similarly, username also, I need to make this use a wildcard and put a star. Password, window text wildcard, star, login, wildcard, and a star. This way, now all my elements will keep highlighting no matter which day I'm trying to uh, use them. So let me highlight them once again. It should work with the wildcard as well. Username, highlight, and you see that I have not drawn exact regions. I have drawn approximate regions, and I told you the reason behind that in the previous module. So all things are being highlighted. Let's click OK. We'll go to action 1 and we'll attach to our application. And I also told you that we also need to activate when we are doing surface automation. So to attach, we'll need to take the root node. Action would be attach. Then title would be it's Blue Prism Training dash date. So again, this title can take a wildcard. So Blue Prism Training dash star. Click OK. Now before that, we'll activate as well. So my login screen should be activated. Click OK. Now I have attached and activated. We'll then send a click to the username and password text box. So how are we logging in? We type into the username, whatever username is there, and then also the password. The way I move to the password is either using a tab key or maybe we are using a mouse. We send a click to the password text box and then we type in the password. So whatever is the username you're typing, the same is the password for this application, and then we click the login button. So let me create this credential. Its data type is password and its value would be admin. Okay. So let's. So the way that I did was I sent a click to the username text box. So we'll send a click to the username text box by using the navigate stage. We'll say click username. Move the username here. Global mouse click center. Okay. Once we have sent a click to the username, we can then I send the keystrokes. So take a navigate stage. We'll say type username. So to type username that is sending keystrokes, we take the root node and use the global send keys. My username is coming from the data item. So credential, click OK. Whatever is the username is also my password. So I have typed into my username. Then I need to send a click to the password text box. So maybe I'll copy these two, paste them, and we'll use them for the password. So this is click password, global mouse click center, okay, and this would be type password, and everything else will remain the same. We are sending to the root node some keys which is coming from credential data item. So and then we need to hit the login button, but before I do that, let me connect everything and also rearrange, and let's reset, detach, run. It's click. You see that it also typed into the text box, but already there was something written into those text boxes, and it just appended to it, or wherever the click went. For example, if the click went at this position, then it typed admin over there, which is not what I want. I want to clear my text box before I enter anything into it. So to clear the text box, how we do manually, there are several ways in which we do the manually. Like once I have sent a click, either I can send a home key, then send delete key several times, or I can send an end key and send backspace key several times, or I can press shift home. First, like press the end key, then press shift home and then press delete once, or maybe I can send a home key, shift, end key, and then press a delete or backspace, whatever. So there are several ways in which this can be deleted, or maybe select everything by right clicking, saying select all, and then sending a delete key. So there are several ways in which you can clear out the text box. I'll show you one simple way of doing it. First, maybe I'll send a home key, then shift, end key, and then a delete. So take a navigate stage. Once after I've clicked into the username, we'll clear the username. So we'll say clear username. We'll use global send keys. So my click is already inside the username. So the way we will do it is we'll first send the home key, and followed by home key we'll send a shift end key. So shorthand for shift is plus, and then we send an end key. So this will select everything into the text box, and then we'll send a delete key. So this should be able to select everything and then delete in from my text box. If you want to send a single key several times, for example, if I want to send delete key 20 times, instead of typing del in curly braces 20 times, I can put a space over here and can say 20. That will send delete key 20 times. But I don't need this. I just wanted to send delete once. So it will send a home, shift, end, delete. This will clear the username field. Similarly, I need to clear my password also. So after I've clicked into my password, I'll say clear password and same keystrokes, or maybe let me show you how I can clear password differently. For example, I need to send a home key and then send a delete key maybe several times. Let's say I want to send delete key 20 times. So this will send a home key and then send delete key 20 times. Click OK. Let's connect these things. Reset, detach, and then run it. Now it should clean the text boxes before typing something into them. So it's center click, delete it, type the username, center click, delete it, then send the password. And that's how I'm able to send the right text into the text boxes. Next that I need to do is click the login button. But before I click the login button, some things that I want to talk about here is that this is one way of sending the text, like typing using the keystrokes. Sometimes you will find that the keystrokes, they are not reaching to the application in the right order because of the network issues or anything. Keys are moving, reaching the application in a different order than what you have sent. So what you can do is, if you find that your keystrokes are not reaching to the application correctly, you can use the different action over here, which is global send key events, which is slightly more reliable than the global send keys. Or what you can do is you can split these credential, like each character you can create a new data item for each character of this credential, and then type that credential one at a time, like one character at a time, and put a wait stage between two consecutive credential characters in the credential, maybe a wait of zero point 0.1 second or something like that. That will ensure that your characters are reaching the application in the correct order. Or maybe if your application allows copy paste, for example, this text, it allows copy paste, I can copy this and paste into it. So we'll then just have to store this credential into a clipboard and then only have to send control V, which is only 2 characters. So let me show you how we can use clipboard. So first I need to take this credential into my clipboard. So I'll take an action stage. I'll say copy onto my clipboard, and there's a business object that's available to work with clipboard, and that's an environment utility. So let me click OK, close this, importing environment utility, save. Now here we'll go to file, import, browse, and we'll pick up the utility environment, which should allow us to save onto a clipboard. Click next, finish. If I open up this utility environment, I can see here that we are able to set on the clipboard using this set clipboard action. It's using a code stage to set my clipboard. So let's close this, go back to my object, and within my action, open up this copy, and the action that I'm going to use is utility environment. I need to choose the right action, so I need to set my clipboard, set clipboard. It takes an input, whatever text I want to set on my clipboard. So take this credential. Okay, so it takes a type, but we are setting as a password type. So let's cast this. It says expression is valid. Okay, so that way I can set my clipboard and click OK. Now that I have copied onto my clipboard, I can press and Control V. So copy this. Maybe I'll take another one and we'll say paste username. Instead of type, I will say paste username. So I am not going to send this now. I need to send control V, and a reliable way of sending control V would be global send key events. This is also very similar to global send keys, like it takes more or less same shorthands for the different non-visible keys like shift, enter, and so on. Yeah, the way that I can send a control V, that is paste, would be using like this, control V, and then control. So this is like saying control V. It sends a control down, V, and then a control up. Okay, so this will paste my username. Let's link this. So after clearing the username, we put on a clipboard, paste it, and then we go to the password text box. So you can see here that either we can type into the text box or we can paste into our text box as we are doing over here. Let me run this and show you it's actually working. So it clears, copies, and then paste over here. And then password, it's doing the old way. It's just typing into the password. Okay, so you can use this as well, global send key events, and paste it from the clipboard. Another thing when you are doing surface automation you need to keep in mind is that if you are typing into the text boxes, you should read that value back. If remember the first time when I did, there was already some text and I pasted it and I typed into the text box, so the text in that field became invalid. So maybe whatever you're setting into a text box or anything, you can always read it back to verify that your application is doing the right thing, your robot is not sending corrupt values into your application. So the last thing I need to do is press the login button. So take another action. Sorry, not action. I need to take a navigate stage and say here login. We take the login region and we'll send a click to it. Click OK. Let's connect and maybe I will arrange some of these things. Reset, detach, run. So this should log in now and it comes to the next screen. One thing I want you to be aware of when we are working with the applications, automating them. For example, if I change this from attach to launch, okay, and maybe I don't need to activate because launch will always bring it to the top. Let's let it be there. If I say launch and activate, if I run this, there was some error, unable to match. So this is the error that sometimes you will receive, unable to match any windows with the query terms. Let me run it again. Okay, so what's happening is uh, it's launching, and then immediately it's trying to activate. So chances are that before the application actually launches, Blue Prism tries to execute that second step, which is activate application. And since that application is not yet ready, the OS didn't get the chance to really launch that application before that Blue Prism is executing the second step, so it fails sometimes. And also maybe if that's not there, maybe if we remove this step from here, then also it may fail because then this thing, it will look for the username region and it will not find it. So again, it may fail over there as well. So whenever you're launching or attaching to your application, make sure that you use a wait stage. Using a wait stage will ensure that you have that your application has actually launched. So I'll open up the wait stage. Either I can just give it a timeout of 5 seconds or whatever time we are expecting that application to come up with, or we can even put some conditions like I would like to wait until this screen, login screen, appears. So check exist equal to true, and maybe we can couple it with a timeout as well. So whichever is happening first, like when this condition becomes true or this time or it times out, whichever happened first, the wait stage will exit. Okay, So click OK on this. Since I have put a condition, I get an extra exit from the wait stage, which is here. So and I can put multiple conditions. So if I'm putting multiple conditions by clicking the add button, any of that condition is being satisfied, it will take that particular exit from this wait stage. As many conditions we have, that many exit points we'll have on this wait stage. Since I have one condition, I have only one exit. So let's link this. After launch and activate, we wait. And then once that login screen appears, we will go to click username. Otherwise, it will time out. So for timeout, maybe we can put an exception. Let me take a pointer. We'll put an exception. Login screen failure. Exception type login exception. Exception detail login screen didn't appear in time. Let's click OK. And we'll connect the timeout to this. Reset. And let's run this. Actually, it's still failing because uh, I have put two steps in one go. Okay, so I cannot put a wait in between these two. So maybe either I can split it into two different navigate stages, or since I'm launching, I don't need activation. So let me remove that. Click OK. Also update the name. Just say launch. Reset. Run it. So you saw as soon as that screen appeared, it went to the click username. It didn't even wait for all the 5 seconds timeout to happen. It just went to the click username thing. So this is something that you should be using when you are automating your solutions, or try to put wait stages between launching your application and doing any other thing else. Otherwise, it will not be able to find your controls. Once we are logged into the system, we need to work with this account screen. Now here we have some extra controls which we haven't encountered so far, like we have the combo box, the radio buttons, and the checkbox. These controls, they have to be treated differently when we are working with surface automation. Some combo boxes, they allow you to simply type in the value you want. Such combo boxes can be treated as text boxes. For example, here when I click new, I have this title combo box, and I can straight away type into my value over here. So this is one way of entering into the combo box. There are other ways, like not all combo boxes would allow you to type in the values. Other ways would be that you start typing the element that you want in this combo box. For example, if I want professor, I would type P and then read the value back. If it is matching to what I'm looking for, I'm good. Otherwise, I type the next letter, which is R. Again, this is not what I want. Then I type O, and now I read the value back. So I'm getting the title that I'm interested in, and then I can send a tab key. So that's one way of selecting an element in the combo box. Some combo boxes, uh, when we type into them, they take the character that we're typing into it as the first character of the element that we're looking for. For example, if I'm looking for professor and I type P, it takes me to the first element that begins with P. When I send the next character P again, it takes me to the next element in that combo box that begins with P. Like this combo box is not behaving that way, but you would find certain combo boxes, like if you have the title which is uh, starting with P and it's fifth in that series, like it's a fifth title that begins with P in that combo box, then you would send P 5 times and you would reach that title. So every time you are sending the first character, you need to read the title back and see whether this is what you are looking for. Another way would be that we send a click into the combo box and then send the down arrow key and read the value back. If this is what we are looking for, we are good. Otherwise, we send the down arrow key again and read it back. So we keep looping until we reach the last title in this list. How will Blue Prism know that it has reached the end of this list is, for example, if I press the down key. Now, if I send the down key again, this is the last title, sister. So sending the down key again, it's not changing the title. So maybe we can store the previous value that has been read and the new value that we are reading. If they two match, we know that it has reached the end of that combo box list. One more way by which you can set the combo box is uh, you can you can draw a region for this drop down. When we click here, and you can then read these values from this exposed list and split them on new line, and then look for the title that you want to set. If it is available in this list, you would send a click to that particular position in this exposed area, and if it is not, then you will scroll up or scroll down to expose the other values. So there are different ways in which you can set the title. Similarly, for setting the radio buttons, you can just send a click to whichever radio button you want to set. That should be done. That should be okay. For example, if I set a radio button to male, it will set that to as male. Or if I want to set as female, I'll send a click to female radio button. But when we are reading the values back, uh, this will not be like that simple. We will have to take four regions, like one with male selected, one with male not selected, one with female selected, and one with female not selected. So we'll take four images, four regions, and we will set the retain image attribute to true. So let me show you that. I'll go to uh, maybe if I go to find and look for a account that begins with W, and with the first selected account, I'll click on select to open it here. Now I want to read that what's the gender of this account. So to read this, we'll have to take screenshots of this. So to take the screenshot, I go to the application modeler, okay, and create a child, identify, and we'll go to the region mode. Then we'll take this screenshot, which opens up the region editor, and inside the region editor we will draw regions for these combo boxes, sorry, these radio buttons, and we need to take four screenshot, one with male selected, male not selected, female not selected. So this is male selected, and this is female not selected. Also, we need to set this retain image to be true. Same for male. We'll set retain image is true. Let's click OK on this, and this is account reader. Click OK. Now that I have these images uh, over here, we can export these images. So inside element snapshot, uh, we can first let's view whether we got the correct image. So this is male selected, and we can export these images, save them onto our hard disk. Similarly for female selected, under element snapshot, first let's verify this is female not selected, export this image as well, and then once we have these images exported and saved somewhere, then we can create data items of type images. Let me show you that. So I take a data item, okay, this is male selected, set the type as image, and import that image wherever you saved it, import it and save it into this data item. So you'll create four data items. If you have like n radio buttons, you will have to create twice the n times data items over here, one for each selected and not selected state. And when you're reading this, you will search for the selected images. If any selected image has been found, you have got your gender with you. And then when we are setting the checkbox, right now this is not readable. Again, when you're reading, we need to take two images, one with checked checkbox, one with not checked checkbox, and then we'll have to compare the image. Whichever image is matched, we know we what's the state of that account is, whether it's verified or not verified. However, when we are setting the checkbox is not that easy like setting a radio button. For example, when we are setting a checkbox, if I send a click to it, uh, thinking that this checkbox is already clear, and I send a click to it, actually it will unclear that checkbox. So before you set the checkbox, first you need to read the value out of that checkbox. Otherwise, it will not set it correctly. You may think that it was initially clear, but if it is not initially clear, you would be actually setting it the wrong way by just simply sending a click. So first read the checkbox and compare it with the image that you have, and if it is in the desired state, leave it, otherwise send a click to that checkbox. Now to read tabular data, let's say if I am looking for an account that begins with W, so I get all these different accounts that have their last name beginning with letter W, and I want to read these accounts. So using surface automation, what we can do is we don't have to draw regions for each and every cell in this table. We can just draw cells for the first row. Maybe let me bring up my application modeler and take a new child, click identify, change the mode to region mode, uh, take a screenshot of this, and inside this region editor, we will just draw regions for the uh, first row. So this is the first name, this is my last name, and this is the account ID that we have to read. Okay. We can even adjust, since we are reading, we need to make sure that the regions are drawn correctly. If they are just overlapping some characters, we can stretch them by using this select button. So now I have drawn three regions. This is the first name. Okay, this is the last name, and this is the account ID. So with these three regions, uh, we know that, for example, for first name, if I expand this rectangle attribute, uh, it has x and y as 24 to 89 and width and height as 170x 23. So its height is 23 pixels. So so this is the x and y are this top left corner, and width and height are the width and height of this region. So we can make use of these values. If I click OK, this is my find account screen, and let me maximize this so that I have a full view of it and sort it on the match column. Now, okay, it's not okay for first name. I have these attributes like start x start y, end x end y. Now for this particular region, like this cell, first name cell, if I have to read the second row, the first name of the second row, and I have to draw a similar region, if I just change the start y and end y of the first region to make it overlap the second cell, we would be able to get the value from that. We will be able to move that region to the second first name. So what we can do is I can make here start y as a dynamic value, and similarly end y also will be dynamic. Now these values can be provided from the Blue Prism. when we are using this particular first name element in our stages. Since these are dynamic, we'll need to provide these values into our stage. So for example, uh, we'll make note of these values. So start y is 289 and 312 is ny. So we'll quickly create some data items. Let me create a new this thing, reading tabular data. So I need to take 4 data items, one for, sorry, just two, start y and end y, because these are dynamic. So this is start y, its number, and its value I'll maybe set later, I've forgotten. So this is end y number. So going back to application modeler, for first name, if I sort it, start y is 289 and end y is 312. So this is 289 and this is 312. So now that we have got the start y and y, to read the first cell, let's take a read stage, open it, read first name, take first name. We will use recognize text. Now first name is having some attributes marked as dynamic, so we'll provide those attributes over here. So this is start y, and this would be end y. Also I need to make one more change. So depending on the row that we are reading, maybe we'll take a loop and we'll take a calculation stage which will increment the index of that loop. Result would be stored in index. So this would be index plus 1, which gets stored in index. Let's click OK. So now using this index value in this reader stage, we can provide here plus index into height, and height is 23 pixels. So index is initially 0. For the first row, index is 0. For the second row, index would be 1. So it will add 23 pixels to start y. Similarly, it will add the same thing into 23. So that way we are passing like we'll get to the correct row, and then we recognize text and store it in first name. Of course, you need to you need to tell the font, the color, and everything. I'm not going into that, as I explained that how it is done in one of the other modules. So this will get the first name. So if you have to read the second name, you'll change the index to 2, or sorry, you'll increment the index and then again call this reader stage, which will get the second name in this table. And if you have to scroll, you can send down arrow keys, and using down arrow keys, it will scroll down into this table and you can keep reading. So that's how you can use these different controls through Blue Prism.